The Department of Government Efficiency DOGE aims to gut not only the corrupt federal bureaucracy, but its army of so-called non-government organizations, NGOs, which our administrative state pays for everything from riots and censorship to gender mutilation and industrial-scale human trafficking. Last week on X, Vivek Ramaswamy called for greater scrutiny of government funding of so-called non-government organizations, which are, of course, an oxymoron. If it's government-funded, it's not a non-government organization, and are a way to conceal unconstitutional or even illegal things our government does. Vivek posted, in response to news, that the architect of our Ukraine proxy war, Victoria Nuland, will be joining the National Endowment for Democracy, an NGO whose main activity seems to be organizing coups in places like Ukraine, Georgia, and Syria. Meanwhile, in a widely circulated interview with Joe Rogan, internet pioneer Mark Andreessen detailed how NGOs were central to government moves to censor and even debank dissident voices and companies. Essentially, the NGOs are the cat's paw, the glove on the fist, taking government money to do things that would be patently illegal if the federal government did it themselves. Now, I mentioned in previous videos the striking fact that Democrats seem able to instantly summon hundreds of protesters or rioters. Conservatives' usual joke is that our people have jobs, but when it's organized by a government-funded NGO, protesting and rioting is their job. The NGOs become a standing army, on call whenever you need anything from get out the vote to blocking highways to a fiery but peaceful mob. For example, Stanford's so-called Internet Observatory received federal grants to target conservatives as misinformation. It passed that on to social media companies to silence them and to banks to cancel them, making it impossible for regime skeptics to pay their mortgage or feed their kids. Take down one and you scare the other 100. Now, if the government censors you and cancels your bank account for disfavored speech, that is highly illegal. But if they fund the NGO, who then shares the results with Facebook and Chase Bank, hey, we didn't blacklist you. So just how big is this army? There are 1.5 million NGOs in the U.S. employing nearly 13 million people. They collectively rake in $2.7 trillion, making NGOs the same size as manufacturing. To give a flavor, top recipients include the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the World Wildlife Fund, and Catholic Charities USA, which rakes in $1.5 billion of taxpayer money to import illegal aliens. Now that 2.7, a conservative estimate puts up to $500 billion paid directly by government, your tax dollars. So that's $300 from the feds, $200 state and local. Yes, you pay for the illegals and drag queen story time. The National Council of Nonprofits estimates government funding is much higher at nearly 32% of NGO revenue, which is $900 billion. So that would translate into between 2 and 4 million paid activists using your tax dollars to push left-wing causes and do the dirty work the deep state isn't allowed to do on its own. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. The NGO industrial complex serves as both intellectual bodyguard and mob enforcer of the authoritarian deep state. Thanks to DOGE, Americans are about to discover just how much of the left is not passionate opposition. It is straight pay-to-play thuggery funded by your tax dollars. It's a very big swamp, and you ain't in it. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.